right, let's hit the field.
It is Monday, May 12th, and the Yankees were taking on the Mariners in Game 1 of a 3-game set. Clarke Schmidt was on the mound looking to put together another solid start, and the Yankees offense was trying to stay hot after a great series against the A's. My recap, your reactions coming up next. This is Pinstripe Territory.
Just wanted to talk, that's all.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks to those of you who have stayed up. It is now 12:43 a.m. in the East. First things first, get well soon to Oswaldo Cabrera. Good night for the Yankees overall, but it was spoiled by what was clearly a devastating and severe ankle injury to Oswaldo Cabrera in the ninth inning, trying to score and tag up on a sac fly. He did score, but you could see that his ankle kind of turned sideways, a way that ankles aren't supposed to bend, and they had to bring him off on an ambulance. So absolutely tough night for Oswaldo and devastating. And also, on a lighter note, congrats to the Knicks, up 3-1 in their series against the Celtics. I know a lot of you are happy about that. Another great night for Trent Grisham, 2 home runs. And another multi-hit game for Aaron Judge, who continues to absolutely tear the cover off the ball, now hitting .414. He's got the on-base percentage up to .503. OPS over 1,200, 1,283. There was a thing from Brian Kenny on the MLB Network about how he's kind of slump-proofed his swing. I don't know about that. I guess we'll find out in October. But let's hope we get this version of Judge in October and all year long. Wells went deep. Volpe went deep. Every Yankee in the starting lineup had at least one hit, and they put up double digits again. They won 11-5, 15 hits in Seattle. Beautiful ballpark. I remember talking about this last year, but I think I'm going to mention it every time that the Yankees go to Seattle for the first time. It's a beautiful place, but it's also the home to a disproportionate amount of serial killers. Yes, Seattle, known for grunge, home of gourmet coffee. It's where you can find some of the most breathtaking natural beauty in America, birthplace of Microsoft. But it's also where Ted Bundy, Gary Ridgway, and Israel Keys made their names. And that's just the headliners. Something about the Pacific Northwest, man. I don't know if it's the rain, the isolation, or what, but great place to hike. Just don't do it alone. On a lighter note, happy 100th birthday to Hall of Famer, the late Yogi Berra, 10-time World Series champion, the man who would turn the paradoxes of the English language into poetry. He was funny, he was deep without trying to be, and he was beloved without exception. He said it ain't over till it's over, but in Yogi's case, it'll never really be over because that's what it means to be a baseball immortal. So we miss you, Yogi. And speaking of paradox of the English language, after we run through the recap and the pitcher spotlight, and we got minors hitters and pitchers spotlight tonight. After we get through that, I've got a 7-minute and 37-second preview of my audiobook, Pinstripe Territory, which I'll play at the end of the show. But let's first get to the recap of the game.
All right, let's go. Let's get it going.
A lot of people feel really bad for Oswaldo in the chat. I do too. It looked like a severe injury. It might have even been a compound fracture. We couldn't tell. A compound fracture is when the bone comes through the skin, but his leg bent really bad. It might have been an Achilles. Who knows? I mean, we had Tatum go down with a similar injury in the Knicks-Celtics game, but obviously a devastating injury for Oswaldo. I'm going to lay off the soundboard tonight, just kind of a couple of reasons. One, I'm not really in the best mood now after that. I feel kind of sick to my stomach having seen that. That's why I didn't wear the fun hat tonight. Also, a lot of people I think are watching on the East Coast in bed late, and I don't want to wake people up with a bunch of unnecessary sound effects. So tonight we're just going to run through the recap. Was not a promising start to the game. Mariners got on the board first with a home run by Julio Rodriguez. Yankees threatened in the second inning, but couldn't get a run across. Worm began to turn in the third inning. Trent Grisham hit his 11th home run of the year, hit off the top of the wall, but also off of Julio Rodriguez's glove. And how do you explain Trent Grisham? I mean, this guy continues to smoke the baseball. And I'm going to mix in a couple of short voicemails tonight.
Hey, Derek, it's Willie. I just got a new name for Trent Grisham. Trent Babe Ruth Grisham.
Creative.
Talk to you later.
Appreciate it, Willie. But yeah, at some point you have to start believing that this is for real. And every time that I get pissed off that Jason Dominguez is sitting, it seems like Trent Grisham comes through with a home run. So, you got to keep running him out there. Unfortunately, Jorge Polanco hit his 10th home run, and the Mariners retook the lead almost instantaneously. Yankees threatened again in the 4th inning. They put a couple of runners on, but Oswald Peraza popped up to end the inning. Phenomenal play on defense by Oswaldo to end the bottom of the 4th inning, sliding towards the dugout to catch a pop-up. Fabulous, fabulous play. And with him coming off the roster now, he's obviously going on the IL. Now that means that they probably won't have to DFA anybody for DJ LeMahieu when he gets activated tomorrow. 5th inning, another home run for Trent Grisham. Dead center field again. This time it cleared the wall by plenty. 4th multi-home run game of his career, and the 2nd one that he's had this season. And I got to say, I did not have Trent Grisham hitting like this on my bingo card. He has been incredible. Incredible. Yankees opened it up big time in the 6th inning. Judge singled, Rice doubled again. We talked about it in the series kickoff podcast. Rice had been hitting .212 over his previous 10 games with just 1 home run, so maybe that grand slam against the A's finally got him going in the right direction after a mini slump. Yankees were all over Emerson Hancock tonight. Big hits from Goldschmidt, roped by Bellinger, and then Austin Wells, 3-run jack, his 8th home run of the season. RBIs number 25, 26, and 27. He had 4 ribbies tonight. He was 1 for 4. Mariners pulled within 3 on a Cal Raleigh home run, but Volpe smoked a 2-run home run in the 9th to make it 10-5. He was on base 4 times. That was his 6th home run of the season. And the Yankees tacked on 1 more with a sac fly, but Oswaldo Cabrera injured himself on the play and probably done for a long time. I'd be surprised if we see him again this year just based on what I saw. Ankle looked like it just broke in half. I mean, just not a pretty picture. Yankees hang on to win. Let's go ahead and give out the belt. Trent Grisham with the belt tonight. Again, continues to absolutely rake and just destroy baseballs. Handing out the free, all expenses paid, mustache rides. But nice job for Grisham. Let's talk about Clarke Schmidt, who was terrific. Another really solid performance by Schmidt. Things started off kind of shaky with the home run, and then he pitched out of a jam in the 2nd. He gave up another home run in the 3rd inning, but then he kind of settled down. He got it under control, and he threw some of the nastiest curveballs that we've seen from him this year. He topped out at 96.2. He had 92 pitches, 62 strikes, so the ratio of throwing strikes was there. Final line, 6 innings, 3 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts. So a really nice performance again by Clarke Schmidt. And by the way, rocking one of the better groomed beards on the roster. Season ERA sits at 4.73. Got a text here. So, yeah, Cabrera, we got a note here. People are asking me about Cabrera. We don't have a word on what it was yet, but it really sounds like a broken ankle, or looked like a broken ankle to me. All right, let's go through the minors real quick. So, Lombard, struggling since being promoted to Double-A, just 4 for 24. No extra base hits yet, hitting 190. Spencer Jones is on the IL at Double-A. Again, too many strikeouts, hitting 228, 9 home runs, 16 RBIs. The power's there, but Major League Baseball history and minor league baseball history is littered with guys who had enormous power but couldn't make enough contact. 41 strikeouts in 92 at-bats, so the strikeout rate well over 40%. It's actually gone up from last year. We saw the swing change recently, the stance change. Hopefully when he comes back off the IL, he gets hot and figures it out, but not good. TJ Rumfield off to a good start in AAA. He could be a trade candidate the way he's swinging the bat. 295, 5 home runs. Obviously blocked at first base by Goldschmidt and by Ben Rice. and 396 on base percentage, 905 OPS, a couple of steals. And Everson Pereira beginning to really heat it up at AAA, 287, hit a walk-off home run the other day, 8 home runs, 19 RBIs, and a 951 OPS so far this year. So he's another guy who you could consider a trade candidate. I could see him playing in the major leagues like right now. He's got a great swing. The pitching, Ben Hess, racking up the strikeouts in high A, 25 innings, 39 strikeouts. You have to imagine a promotion is coming soon for him and probably Bryce Cunningham. Hess had a 3.24 ERA through the first 5 starts. Cunningham through 36 and a third innings, 1.98 ERA, 0.99 whip. So off to a really good start. Cam Schlittler is somebody who I want to see at some point in the major leagues this year. At AA, he's at 2.18 ERA in 33 innings, 1.06 whip, so keeping guys off base. Elmer Rodriguez Cruz putting up enormous numbers at high A. He's been electric. 6 games, 1.97 ERA, 32 innings, 41 strikeouts. So he's looking like he could be the real deal. And Eric Reiselman in AAA, one of our relief options, should we need one. 11 games in relief, 2.45 ERA, 14 2/3 innings, and 17 strikeouts. Okay, so I'm going to play a few voicemails here, and then we will play the sponsor and get a quick preview of Pinstripe Therapy, my book that I got coming out. Albert Jr. says, when DJ comes back, I'm putting him right next to Goldie saying, watch. Theo Harris with the super chat says, starting to get concerned. We can't keep having these injuries. I mean, we have had a lot of injuries. Garrett Cole, obviously, the biggest one. But we are getting Luis Gil and Giancarlo Stanton and Jonathan Loaizaga all back soon. DJ LeMahieu is going to be activated tomorrow. But, Waldo probably out for a while. The Wizard of Oz, Waldo. The truth says, is Jesus Rodriguez good at all? I think he's good. He can hit. He's got a good swing. We saw him in spring training. BHD says, do a report on Bryce Cunningham in high A. He's killing it. Yeah, I mean, I've watched some highlights of him, of Ben Hess. I mean, these guys are really throwing the ball well. Hess has a very similar motion to Garrett Cole, so you can see why the Yankees like him. And then John Carlo says, can we try Ben Rice at third base now? I don't think so. Just because you lose somebody there doesn't mean you're going to stick somebody out of position there. The defense is too important. We saw that in the World Series. I think you're going to see DJ LeMahieu slide back over to third base. And then Yorbit Vivas will play second base. I think that's how it's going to shake out. All right. Well, as you get older, you learn why phrases were invented. I mean, for a while, my neck was hurting, and it was really bad. And I realized that's why people call things a pain in the neck, right? Because when your neck hurts, it's tough. And then, I can't say I've ever had a butt muscle pull like Carl Pavano, but I'd imagine a pain in the ass is also fun. I guess hemorrhoids could be a thing, but I don't think I've had those either. But I guess I would know. But for the last couple of days, I've been battling a pretty bad cold, and seeing as how it's 12:56 in the morning, I'm also kind of tired. So both sick and tired. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to play the quick 1-minute sponsorship ad from Harry's, who is our sponsor all week. And then when that ends, you guys will hear a 7-minute and 37-second preview of my forthcoming audiobook that I hope to release later on this year, probably September, October. It's looking like, towards the end of the season, called Pinstripe Therapy. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, but I wanted to play you the first chapter, so we'll play that tonight. But quick word from Harry's. In baseball, as in life, it's all about having that extra edge, that little extra half second of a swing, the late break on a slider, or the grit to outlast your opponent on a hot afternoon. Same goes for shaving. Harry's gives you the edge where it counts. I tried the $5 trial set, and honestly, it's like the ace of my bathroom rotation. The handle's weighted just right, the razor is smooth, and the foaming shave gel lathers better than anything I have used before. I keep my beard tight around the jawline, clean edges, no irritation. Harry's handles it with ease. Even the packaging is big league. And their body wash, I've got the redwood scent. It's like a fresh cut field on opening day. Get the edge on your shave with Harry's razors. Normally their trial set is $10, but right now you can get it for just $5 at harrys.com/stripe. That's harrys.com/stripe for a $5 trial set. May 25th, 1983. My 4th birthday. I received a Pinstripe New York Yankees jersey with the number 23 on the back. People in my family were referencing somebody named Mattingly, which I thought was a fun sound. I also received a little wooden bat with his signature engraved on the side. Don Mattingly, number 23. My mind was still forming, and this wasn't my first memory. My first memory was actually my brother Chris shooting me with a disappearing ink gun and running to tell my mother. But by the time I got there, it had disappeared. Magic. This broke what my 3-year-old brain understood about the natural order of the universe. One second I was wet and betrayed. The next I was bone dry and gaslit. And my brother, a 9-year-old lunatic with a water gun, had somehow bent the laws of reality to his will. That moment cracked open my brain. Not in a traumatic way, but in a magic exists kind of way. I genuinely believed he had tapped into something supernatural. And not the fun kind of magic, like rabbits out of hats. I mean real magic, dark arts, sorcery. My brother was a wizard, and I was apparently living in a universe where that was possible. And maybe, deep down, I still believe that. Because, much like that disappearing ink, the Yankees have been magical for me. They've been a constant, a portal, even to something bigger than just baseball. They've transformed my life, shaped my identity, and reminded me again and again and again that sometimes magic really does exist. My second memory was of the police coming to our house because my dad was playing the drums a little too loud and my neighbors complained. But there, somewhere around number 3 or so, is Donnie Baseball. It was around this time that I was playing with a truck in my closet where my little play area was, when one of my brothers, I can't remember which one, but probably Kevin, yelled from the top of the stairs that Don Mattingly had just hit a home run. I didn't really understand what a home run was, but whenever someone on the Yankees hit one, everyone in the house found out about it. But my brain was formed enough to understand a few things. 1, ink could disappear, as Pete Davidson is now proving. 2, hot dogs were delicious. And number 3, the most important people around me. I'm not even sure if I understood they were family or that there were people in the world who weren't related to me. But they all shared the same understanding. Don Mattingly was good and worth mentioning and worth celebrating. I missed maybe a dozen games in my life since that point. And coming up on 38 years later, at the time of this writing, Don Mattingly is still my favorite all-time player, although Aaron Judge and Derek Jeter are a close number 2 and 3. Ironically, one of the games I missed was perhaps Mattingly's greatest, when he hit a home run in Game 2 of the 1995 American League Division Series. I had gotten in a fight on the school bus with a kid named Jeremy. Over what? I don't remember. I think it was something stupid like whether or not Mortal Kombat was the best game ever or not. My punishment from school was detention. My punishment from my parents was that I wasn't allowed to watch that night's Yankees game. We had been to the game the night before. It was a thrilling victory. The Yankees had won 9-6 behind midseason acquisition David Cone. Ken Griffey Jr. had hit a couple of home runs, and Don Mattingly went 2 for 4 with an RBI. The morning after Game 2, I woke up extra early in the morning to catch the first edition of SportsCenter. My punishment was officially over, and my first thought and only thought was finding out what happened in the Yankees game. I was almost in tears when I saw the highlights of Don Mattingly hitting a home run into the right field bleachers. I don't know if it was an official vow or not. I don't remember writing anything down. But somewhere inside of me, I swear I decided I would try to never miss another game again if I could prevent it. It was shortly after that when I experienced my first real heartbreak as a sports fan. The Yankees ended up winning Game 2 in dramatic fashion on a game-winning home run by Jim Leyritz. Back then, they didn't call it a walk-off, but from now on in this book, I will reference game-winning home runs as walk-offs, since that's pretty much what everybody calls them these days. The Yankees had taken a 2-0 series lead over Ken Griffey Jr. and the Seattle Mariners in the American League Division Series, but unfortunately the series shifted to Seattle, and the Yankees dropped the next 3, including Game 5 in heartbreaking fashion. My soul had been crushed a little bit the year before, because the Yankees were in first place and they were just walking over the American League when the season ended abruptly on August 12th due to the players' strike. That really sucked, but it didn't hurt quite like this. And it's for moments like that that I'm titling this book Pinstripe Therapy. It was around this time that I got my first television set, a tiny 13-inch color TV. I put it in my bedroom. I hooked up the Nintendo. I was so excited to be able to watch Yankees games in my bedroom, but this was before we had cable, so I would only be able to watch the ones that came over the airwaves on WPIX. Up until I was about 9 or 10 years old, my bedtime had been 9 p.m., but occasionally my brother Kevin would peek out from down the hallway and let me come down to his room, which was now the room I was living in and where my TV had been installed after Kevin went to college. He would allow me to come sit at the end of his bed and listen to the Yankees game on the radio, and that's the first time that I got to hear the dulcet tones of Mr. John Sterling, who even back then would say, "Net is high, net is far, net is gone." They also had Michael Kay at that time. He eventually switched to Yankees television on the Yes Network, but the combination of Michael Kay and John Sterling in the booth to this day, to me, is unrivaled, especially back then when John Sterling was still pretty sharp. Towards the end of his career, he would mess up a lot, but back then, it didn't get any better than John Sterling. Kevin was probably the straightest arrow of my brothers, so for him to allow me to come into his room and stay up past my bedtime to listen to the Yankee games let me know it was important. And to my parents, sorry if this is the first time you're hearing this, but yes, I was staying up past my bedtime to listen to the Yankee game. And until I started my podcast in 2020, in which I do a live show after each game, my favorite pastime was still occasionally listening to the Yankees game in bed with the lights off. Growing up about an hour from New York City, a lot of people were Yankees fans. I would see Yankees hats, I would see Yankees logos, but for my brothers and I, our walls were covered with posters, pennants, and other Yankees memorabilia. You can see why I'm still so obsessed to this day. Now a 42-year-old man at the time of this writing, my favorite room in the house is still adorned with Yankees memorabilia and pictures. I didn't understand it yet, but I had latched onto something that would shape my entire life.